Let's look at the markets now. We've got Nicholas Sorour, Private Client Advisor at Sasfin Securities with me. Nicholas, thanks for your time. So one of the stocks on the local market that escaped the sell-off today was Sasfin. Looking at that trading update, coming through with a view on first half headline earnings per share seen between 15 and 19% up. The stock's up over 1% right now. It's one of the best performers on the local market, 165 Rand. Do you like Aspen?
I do like Aspen. I like its defensive qualities. I like how the business is growing and where it's growing to. And it's absolutely remarkable to see a trading update like that, especially on a company that, has grown so much. So, I mean, we're talking about quite a high base. To grow another 19% is just remarkable. So I quite like those numbers. It'll be interesting to see when the results are released. Look a little bit further in there, see what the CEO's comments are and so on, and digest a little bit more. But certainly it came off quite a little bit a couple of days ago. I saw the prices down to 155 Rand. Some strong buying that was coming through there. So I think when it pulls back a little bit, people definitely jump in and pick up the stock. It's certainly something that you would want to accumulate for your portfolio if you're looking for some defensive qualities. Vodacom was another one that was actually quite strong on the day. That closed, there is 117 Rand 75.
Yeah, strong volumes also.
Yeah, actually very much so. It was quite pleasing to see. MTN did come off a little bit, but we also need to understand Vodacom has dropped from almost 130 Rand down to these lower levels. So it isn't surprising to see it tick up a little bit there. But I do think some strong cash flow coming through on that business and a good dividend expectation is giving some good support to that share price. So I think if you manage to accumulate some Vodacoms at those cheaper levels and Aspens, you are smiling today. But if you've got lots of Billitons, Anglos, Exoras, gold companies and platinum companies on your portfolio, you're not smiling today. Today wasn't a great day.
No, it was certainly not a great day. Resource sector overall down over 3%. BHP Billiton, I mean, it's shed 3.6%. New CEO, a lot of I suppose the market knew that, but we didn't know which CEO it would be. Andrew McKenzie now takes over. He's from within BHP Billiton. But I mean, 286 Rand.
It was 310 Rand 2 days ago.
Exactly.
It's like, wow, it's amazing how these things can drop.
Is it going to build up from here?
Very good question. It's always a tough one to answer. You need to look at the graphs, maybe make a few technical analyst point of views, have a look at the numbers that were out and so on. Look, the numbers weren't brilliant. I mean, and if you look at the the CEO statement, things aren't looking fantastic for the future. I think what the company's looking at doing is kind of bedding down what they've got, reducing their capital expenditure, and really trying to fight costs. And that's what we saw coming through the results that were released yesterday.
Yeah.
I think Maurice Klopp is leaving. We all knew about it, but I think it came across as it happened quite suddenly. It's now May, so I think that's something that was a little bit unexpected.
Yeah. Mondi, also one of the stocks which didn't fall today. It closed flat, 113 Rand. Speaking to David Hawthorne, interesting. He talks about the acquisitions, 1.2 billion euros during the period. 2/3 of their business now sitting in packaging and the rest in
That's where the money seems to be at the moment for them. Yes.
Yeah, and he's not bullish on the Chinese market, and he says it's not really a profitable space for them specifically to operate in. Interesting, of course, a contrast to other companies.
Absolutely, you kind of always hear the story that China's the big thing. That's where you need to expand. But what's also interesting is that Eastern Europe is quite important as well. We look at Europe as a disaster area of austerity measures, but if you have a look at a lot of companies, growth expectations are also coming out of the emerging areas of Europe, being more the East. And that's where you've seen Mondi invest heavily. They've been investing in Western European companies, but those Western European companies having exposure to the east of Europe. So that's been quite interesting to see. A lot of synergies being created there. They're saving almost 30 million euros per year now on those synergies that they're going to develop with the acquisitions. And what a stellar performer. I mean, my goodness, it's a company that was 20 Rand in 2009. Now you're looking at 113 Rand just a few years later.
Yeah. And Discovery, we just had Adrian Gore talking about the business right now. He says, you've got to fight for every Rand, and of course a little bit concerned about the consumer, but saying that lapse rates have in fact come down at Discovery Life. You're looking at a stock that closed at 67 Rand 48 cents a day. It was up 2 Rand. The market liked the results. Is this a company that you'd start looking at right now, given the fact you don't hold it?
It's a company I wish I had more of, actually, having a look at it and understanding it a little bit better. I mean, we reached 68 Rand 50 in intraday today, the highest it's ever been.
Yeah.
Looking at the business model, I think it's very unique and an innovative business model. And, they're starting to spread that not just out of South Africa. I mean, they've done so well in the UK. Great expectations for China and so on. And these are very, very important growth areas. So I'm quite excited about the future then. Certainly a stock I would be looking at. And on pullbacks, I'd like to accumulate that. So I've been quite impressed by those results and numbers.
Dividend, though, is that good enough? Given the fact
I think if you're purely after dividend players, maybe in the insurance space, maybe MMI would be a better option. But if you're looking for growth and a little bit of dividend, I think Discovery is actually one of those options to go for.
Well, they did increase the dividend today, but thank you for joining us today, Nicholas Sorour, private client advisor at Sasfin Securities.